guys, it is time for social studies today, and we are learning about Texas colonization and the impresario system. More specifically today, we're going to focus on Mexico's independence from Spain. And you're like, what does that have to do with us? Well, I'll talk to you about that in just a few minutes. If you're in the classroom, you should have out your Texas colonization and impresario system booklet, and we are going to be filling out a couple of these pages today. So, notice in your booklet, you have on your first page, which mine is a little messed up right now, you have unit vocabulary. Now, I'm going to be reading just about the same thing you see in your booklet, but notice in your booklet how there are blanks. I will be saying what's going on, and I'll be talking, and you'll be able to fill in those blanks as we go. I know I'm real tiny in the corner, and I'm holding something up. But if you have the booklet, you know what I'm talking about. Today we'll do unit vocabulary and we will do Texas today. Are you guys ready? I'm ready. So let's get started. So before I start talking about all the good things, we are going to talk about unit vocabulary. So when I say these words, you know what I mean. So agriculture is the raising of plants and animals for food. It is a big thing here in Azle, Texas. We have a whole ag program at the high school. They raise animals. I don't know if they do plants or not. I don't know, but I'm sure they talk about it. It is a whole thing where I went to school. I graduated from Tarleton State University. Whoop, whoop. And that was a really big thing. Tarleton is one of the top agriculture schools in Texas. And so they have a really big agriculture department, and they talk about people who want to be in the agriculture business and farmers and ranchers and all of those different things. It's very big, somebody might have in our class might have some parents that do that. So let's talk about colonization. Remember, when we talked about the Spanish and French exploration, y'all remember that? Remember this anchor chart? When we talked about Spanish and French exploration, we also talked about colonization. And that's when one nation establishes its presence in another region of the world. So Spain's all the way on the other side of the world. They came and they colonized the United States, and specifically where Texas is today. So did the French. The French came over and they colonized too. An impresario, which is a few days away, but an impresario is a person who received land as a gift by the Mexican government, and then they could sell it to others. And you're thinking, what? They got land as a gift? They could sell it so they made money and it was free? Yeah, guys. Isn't that crazy? We'll learn about it later. A Tejano is a Texan with Mexican ancestors. And a land grant is an area of land given by the government to individuals. And again, given by the government to individuals. And you're thinking, what? That doesn't happen? Well, it did. And we'll learn about it in just a couple days. So let's go ahead and let's start talking about Texas today. So when we look at a current map of North America, we find Texas and Mexico right next to each other. So you see down there, you see Texas in red and Mexico in red. They are right next to each other. They're right below us. They are now separated by a national border. But less than 200 years ago, that was not the case. There was not a border there. The land was not separated the same exact way as it is today. So, also, this is going to blow your mind too. Spain ruled what is now Texas and Mexico. So listen, Texas and Mexico, it wasn't called Texas then. It was called something different, but just for sake of easiness and for you to remember it, we're going to call it Texas. So, Texas and Mexico, they were separate, but they were ruled by the same people. They were both ruled by Spain, which is all the way across the world, right? You're like, what? They were ruled all the way across the world? Yeah, they did that. But that made them one colony. Texas and Mexico were one colony. Kind of like there are states in the United States, but we're all underneath the United States. There's a bunch of different one of us. There's Louisiana and Georgia and Texas and Oklahoma, but we're all called the United States. That you can kind of make that comparison just to understand they were all one colony. Okay, So, by the early 1800s, many Mexicans were very unhappy with the high taxes and the greed of the Spanish king. So, the Spanish king, they didn't like him. He had high taxes. He was very greedy. Remember, Spain came over for gold, God, and glory. They wanted the money. They wanted the glory. They wanted to spread their religion. Remember, with the Native Americans, y'all remember them coming over? They took their land. They created these Spanish missions. They were trying to colonize. But the Mexicans became unhappy with that. They were like, geez, you're greedy, your taxes are too high. And some felt that their country should not be or should be ruled by themselves. They're like, we live here, we know what's going on. Why can't we just rule ourselves? And not by Spain. And Spain was like, is way far away. So why are they ruling us anyway? So they decided to do something about it. Father Miguel Hidalgo gave a speech in 1810, and it began a revolution. His speech led a complete and total uprising, and he demanded fair government for all. He was like, listen, we should rule our own area. Spain, you're over there. You're taxing us too much. You're being way too greedy. So we want to do our own thing. And so he was like, okay. And it did start a revolution. And there were people in it. There were Indians, mestizos, there were even priests, and they were all involved in this one revolution. So, unfortunately, the Spanish government did have Father Hidalgo killed, but he really made an impact because people kept fighting. They kept trying to get their independence. And then in 1821, Mexico actually did win its independence from Spanish rule. So remember, you're like, what does this have to do with Texas? Okay, think. There's Texas and there's Mexico, but we were all one colony. So we were under Spanish rule, but now Mexico got its independence in 1821. So how did that impact Texas? Well, we are going to learn how this impacted Texas tomorrow. So for today, I want you're going to do a journal entry. And what I mean by a journal entry is you're going to answer the question, how do you think Mexico's new freedom impacted Texas? How do you think Mexico's new freedom impacted Texas? Well, think about it. Mexico and Texas were the same colony. They had the same ruler. The Spanish king was their ruler. They had the same high taxes and the same greed. What do you think happened? Did Mexico just split off and go do their own thing, and they had their government and Texas just stayed underneath the Spanish rule? Do you think that when Mexico split off, since they were one colony, they stayed together and now we became under Mexican rule? How do you think the Texans, they weren't Texans at the time, but how do you think that they would feel? If you were in the situation, what do you think would be going on? So tomorrow I am going to talk about the impact of Mexico's freedom on Texas. Y'all stay tuned. I cannot wait to talk about it. Love you guys.